It's getting close to summer, and you can see the sun has moved way to the north from where it was not long ago. And it's going to set over the open water, or at least from what looks like the open water from where we're at. And it's not summer yet, so the longest day of the year is the summer solstice, and that's on June 21st, or I don't know the exact date. I think it varies by a day or two, but June 21st. And of course, so the sun's still got just a little bit further to go before it reaches its apex. But you know, it's really neat to watch the sun change its angle over the course of the year and basically mark another year. And all around the world, civilizations have, and through all of mankind, have marked that journey of the sun from season to season. It's so important to everything on Earth, and it's beautiful. Isn't it beautiful when it's setting like that? It's still gonna take a little while for it to set, and it's already getting pretty late in the day. The sunset's, I think, about like 8:20 or something now. So it's after 7 o'clock. I don't know what time it is, but the sun's still pretty high. It's long days. That's the wonderful thing about summer, is those extra long days. We get to cram so much more in. And human sleep cycles are related to the seasons. Generally speaking, people, and I guess most mammals as well, sleep more in the wintertime. And of course, some mammals, they hibernate in the wintertime. They're just like, this is enough of this, and we're just going to sleep through the whole thing. But humans, I'm not sure how much our sleep varies, but there's definitely a noticeable difference in how much we sleep in the winter versus how much we sleep in the summer. It's a measurable amount that we, on the average person tends to, our circadian rhythm is related to the amount of light that's in the day. It's one of the big factors in circadian rhythm. Oh, well, the water's clear, and for this time of year, the water's particularly clear. You know, sometimes we get clear water in the wintertime more often, but for it to be so clear in the warmer months like it has been for the last couple of summers is unique to most of my lifetime. I'm sure I've seen the water clear throughout my life during the summer months, but not on a continuously clear basis. And that, I think, is because there was so much fertilizer, reduction in fertilizer use, because the fertilizer feeds the algal blooms, and the algal blooms make the water cloudy. So I'm sure, you know, it's not as clear as it was during some of the days in the middle of winter, but it's still clear water for here, comparative to what I'm used to. And people had said that the water used to be clear here. I've heard people say that they remembered the water always being clear, so a long time ago. So that's kind of interesting. And I'm not sure if John White made many comments on that or not, but it would be interesting to see. It seems like the pictures, the drawings from John White and his first experiences here on Roanoke Island, it seems like the pictures kind of insinuate that the water was clear. It's kind of hard to say because, you know, he's drawing pictures to try and teach something, but the pictures always seem to indicate that it was clear water. Of course, there was another inlet up here as well, which would have affected the water clarity. It would have been probably been very clear, because it would have been more like it is down in the Pamlico Sound and down in Hatteras in that area, because the inlet would be just one was up there, and then another one was right over there in Nags Head. So there was an inlet in Nags Head, and there was an inlet up just further north. There's neither of those now. It's closed off all the way. But having a connection with nature and your surroundings, you got to maintain that through life. It's kind of part of this oneness that we have with the universe and the planet and other people, and it's important. And there was a quote by the famous poet Rumi, R-U-M-I, and it says, how does it go? It says, "You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the ocean in a drop." That says a lot. It's trying to tell us that we're all part of this. You know, all the potential and all the energy that's in you and in this world. It's all one thing. We're all sharing in the one experience of the universe, the matter and the energy, and it's all interchangeable, and it's all part of the same universe, meaning one universe. So, you know, it helps us with our ego. We need to have a good sense of loving ourselves, believing in ourselves, and knowing that we have our own identity as an individual, but to also have this idea that we're all just sharing in this thing together, and we don't have but so much room to criticize one another or to do harm to one another. In fact, when we do those things, the reason those are sins is because when we harm ourselves, we're harming others. When we're harming others, we're harming ourselves. And basically, a sin is just essentially a way of saying that we shouldn't be doing harm to ourselves or to others, in the sense that they're actually one and the same. So that helps us remove that egotism. We can have our sense of self, we can have our sense of identity without having to feed an ego that way. We can just know that we belong here just as much as the next person. In fact, we belong here with the next person. And there's all different kinds of people, and we don't have to be subservient to their to their thinking or to their comments or whatever. We just have to be in, for lack of a better word, just in cooperation with everything when we're guided by the right principles. So we can know when a person's energy is wrong, and we don't need to subject ourselves to accepting that negative energy. If we can help them, if it's a situation where you can help them and you can shed some light on the matter and help them see that they're wrong and in a helpful way, then that's good. If you can't do that, then you just know that you don't have to build some massive armor around yourself and stop being you, and you don't have to stop being the person that you are meant to be, which is what when we start feeding our ego, that's what we do, is we build this armor around ourselves, and it seems like we're creating a sense of identity, but really what we're really doing is not allowing our true identity, our true oneness with everything, to be at its maximum. We're building a false sense of security around ourselves. It's a defense mechanism, and it's honest to do that, but we don't let that grow on yourself if you're in a hard situation. Keep breaking that down. Know that that's not the spiritual way to be. In fact, that's what spirituality lets us do. It lets us break that ego down and really be our true self. And it is possible, even for a person when they get older, they've had to wear that shell and that armor ego for so their whole lives. They can still break that down and break through it, and it doesn't mean they have to be scared that they're going to lose themselves. That's what hurts people and holds people back from being able to get rid of that armor and cast it off. And I think we all have some of it, but when it becomes extreme, or it starts to become what we really call a disorder, and trying to remove that, there's a big resistance to it, because we actually, when we develop that ego, we actually think that is who we are. And so it's this bad cycle of having a defense mechanism that maybe should just be useful for short periods of time in our lives, if at all, starts to become who we think that we are, when it really is not allowing us to live fully. And so, to be really careful with that, and not be scared that we can be ourselves and be our best selves without that kind of armor. There's that osprey. They've been chirping away. It seems like there's maybe more of them than normal this summer. I'm not real sure about that, but I'm seeing a lot and hearing a lot of osprey. So I'm almost thinking the osprey had a lot of babies. Well, I love you, and it's another beautiful day here on Earth.